After this crazy, mind-bending episode, I really only have one phrase that keeps going through my head. Lady in red. For sure, if we fade, then it's a lie. But you know we are the sun. And we'll walk. This is Lost Thoughts for episode 15, entitled Across the Sea. This week we'll talk about how satisfying the end should be. Sing a little Chris de Burgh. Sing a little Chris de Burgh. And theorize once again about what the smoke monster is. I cannot believe my eyes when reading the comments regarding this episode. Apparently, many people were upset. They were upset with the answers that they got and expected more out of the show. I'm gonna go on record to say that I loved this episode, given that I know, understand, and have accepted that I will not have every answer to every question. The main appeal to the show is its sense of mystery, and when all is said and done, we may be left with an open-ended answer. I have accepted that. And if you truly respect the show for what it is, you will accept that as well. The best stories leave the endings ambiguous. Look at 2001: A Space Odyssey. Look at Lost in Translation. Look at The Shining. The best stories leave you wanting more and debating about what truly happened. That way, the story never truly leaves you. In this way, Lost will never leave us. We will not get the answers that we feel we deserve to know, but we will have a satisfying conclusion to the story that has been unfolding for the last 6 years. In this episode, we received the backstory to the Man in Black and Jacob. We were given an insight to their origins, reasons for their actions, answers to various questions, and a whole lot more in terms of mythology. I understand that we were left with more whys, but those questions are not necessarily important to the storyline. Certain stories may lose all their mystique when all the curtains have been pulled back. The number one thing that stuck out for me more than anything in this episode was the smoke monster. A lot of people have come to the conclusion after this episode that the smoke monster is not actually the Man in Black, and just some entity that absorbed his memories. It may turn out that the smoke monster is more mysterious than we could have ever imagined, but I guess we'll wait and see for Theory of the Week. This episode also doesn't follow the traditional storytelling of Lost. This episode takes place in one timeline with a linear storytelling technique, with a few glimpses of some scenes from season 1. We start off in a shipwreck. The time frame is uncertain, but a lot of people have pegged it to be roughly 2,000 years ago, about the time of Christ. A woman in red is in the water. She gets to the shore, and man, is she pregnant. Lady in red. The island is like salvation to her, but she's in trouble because of this pregnancy. She starts to drink some water until she sees the reflection of another woman. This other woman is gonna help her. Apparently, she was already on the island. Pregnant woman's name is Claudia, but for the sake of argument, I'm gonna continue referring to her as the Lady in Red. Lady in red. What the heck? There was like some crazy little music in the background, and all of a sudden they're speaking English? What happened to the Latin? What, you don't think we can handle subtitles? Man, people are just too lazy to read sometimes. How did you get here? The same way you got here. By accident. No, seriously, how did she get there? She can speak Latin, so obviously she comes from a lineage of people that were not originally on the island. Every question you ask will lead to another question. Duh. We've kind of known that since season 1. And oh my gosh, Lady in Red is gonna pop. It's a boy! His name is Jacob. Wow. That's a clean baby. Wow, we just saw the birth of Jacob, which is a huge, significant event in the history of the island, and I just cannot believe, holy crap, she's having another baby. At this moment, did anyone get a vision of Gary Troop's book, Bad Twin? I mean, seriously, they set that book up in season 2. It's another boy. Oh, I really hope they call him the Man in Black. But she only picked one name. The island lady appropriately wraps Jacob in white cloth, whereas wraps the other baby in dark. The lady in red wants to see her babies, but the island lady says she's sorry and smashes her head in with a rock. And if you haven't figured it out at this point, the island lady is the mother that Flock refers to as his crazy mom. And from here on out, I will refer to her as such. It's many years later, and we see the Dark One walking along the beach. I will refer to him as Dark Boy, at least until he grows up. He finds a game in the sand. Young Jacob runs up and wants to know what it is. It's a game, you just play it. And ladies and gentlemen, we have confirmation that the mysterious island boy that's been running around terrorizing people is in fact young Jacob. And this may answer the question as to why Hurley and Sawyer could see him and Richard couldn't. Hurley and Sawyer are candidates. Dark Boy knows how to play the game just because. That's kind of weird. The whole scene is eerily similar to when Locke and Walt played backgammon in season 1. I mean, they used a lot of the same dialogue. Crazy Mom is weaving, which is Jacob's favorite future pastime. Jacob tries to tell her a version of the truth that won't get his brother in trouble, but of course she sees right through it. Back at the beachfront, Dark Boy is staring out at the ocean. May I join you? Which is one of the phrases that we've heard so many times over the seasons. Jacob told on his brother because he doesn't know how to lie? That's interesting. If Jacob isn't capable of lying, then that lends truth to anything that he has ever said to any character. Crazy Mom tells Dark Boy that he is special. Once again, a character who is special. The game apparently came from Crazy Mom, which I really don't know why she gave him that. Dark Boy thought the game came from across the sea. Like Jumanji. Crazy Mom tells Dark Boy that the island is all there is. Okay, so this woman has serious issues to consider that she doesn't want her sons, or stolen sons, to believe that there is anyone in the outside world. And they never have to worry about dead? What kind of power does this woman have? Young Jacob and Dark Boy chase down a boar until it's actually killed by some ancient hunters. Who are these guys, and why was that one guy's face hidden? The boys run off to tell their mom, and Crazy Mom says that the hunters don't belong there. But she, Jacob, and Dark Boy are there for a reason. What reason, and who put Crazy Mom in charge? It's not time to explain, but she wants to show them something. So, like any good mom, she blindfolds them and leads them somewhere. They come, they fight, they destroy, they corrupt, and it always ends the same. Obvious delivery of the line by Man in Black from the beginning of the season 5 finale. Knowing that the line came from the mother, I really want to know what happened to her to make her think that. But we're people. Doesn't that mean we can hurt each other? Crazy Mom says that she made it so that they can never hurt each other, which kind of goes against the logic of Jacob beating the crap out of Man in Black later. But not being able to hurt each other is a rule that Crazy Mom put into place. How can she do that? She brings them to a golden, shimmering something, and in doing so, enforces the whole Adam and Eve, Garden of Eden feeling versus outside world infringing on their beliefs. This shimmering, lit-up cave reminds me somehow of the Tree of Knowledge. What's down there? Light. The warmest, brightest light you've ever seen or felt. No one must ever find it. A little bit of light is inside of every man, and they want it. If they try to take it, they might put it out. And if they put it out, it goes out everywhere. Crazy! Crazy Mom can't protect it forever, and she needs someone to take her place, which is where the boys come in. Is this why she killed Lady in Red? Lady in Red. When she did, so she can raise them to be her replacements? Dark Boy and Jacob continue to play their game, and Jacob apparently makes an illegal move, according to Dark Boy. But you made the rules. One day you'll have your own game, where you can make the rules. Foreshadowing at its finest. But we've already seen moments where Jacob is running his own game, so can it really be foreshadowing, or backshadowing? Hey, it's the Lady in Red. Lady in Red. Only Dark Boy can see her for some reason? Why can't Jacob see her? Can we consider her a part of the Whispers? Lady in Red wants to show Dark Boy the people from across the island who have been living there for 13 years. They're his people. The people who were on the ship with Lady in Red. Lady in Red. They are the ones who truly came from across the sea, and I would really like to know from where. Lady in Red admits to being Dark Boy and Jacob's mother. Dark Boy goes to get Jacob to bring him to their people. How many previous lines can we use in this episode? When Dark Boy tries to explain that Crazy Mom's been lying to them this entire time, Jacob beats the crap out of Dark Boy. Dark Boy tries to plead his case, and Jacob ultimately says no. No matter what he was told, Crazy Mom tells Dark Boy that he can never leave the island. He says that one day, he'll prove that he can. Even before John Locke came to the island, Dark Boy did not like to be told what he can't do. Crazy Mom admits to Jacob that she killed their mother because she didn't want them to become one of them. Crazy Mom says that Jacob is good and she wanted him to stay that way. Jacob asked why she loves Dark Boy more than him. Perhaps Jacob, in not being able to tell a lie, can tell when other people are lying. Even after all of this, Jacob still might have seen some truth in what Crazy Mom was saying, so he decides to stay with her. For now. Flash forward to when Jacob's a bit older. Apparently for years, Jacob has been visiting Dark Boy and playing a game with him. Apparently Jacob has been visiting Dark Boy for years and playing that game with him. And Jacob has been watching that civilization of people for years to see if Crazy Mom was right. Dark Boy, now the Man in Black, says that yes, they are indeed bad. After 30 years, he knows what they're capable of. It's easy for Jacob to say that they aren't so bad, watching from above. Huge God reference here. They're greedy, manipulative, untrustworthy, and selfish. But they are a means to an end. The end being the Man in Black getting off the island. Man in Black thinks that he's found a way off the island, and he throws the dagger against a well, which sticks because of the electromagnetism. And apparently it was the Man in Black who helped those ancient people dig all those wells. This time, he found something, and he wants Jacob to come with him. For some reason, Jacob believes that his mom is never gonna die. The interesting thing to note is that the mystical properties of the island and the electromagnetism did not come from the Man in Black and Jacob, but in fact predate them. Things that predate them, of course, may fall into the category of things that will never be truly explained. You know where I was. Jacob can't lie, especially to Crazy Mom. After being told what the Man in Black was doing, Crazy Mom joins Man in Black down a well. Another interesting note, if you notice, the Man in Black still calls her mother. He found another way to get to the light. And a way of manipulating the light, the frozen donkey wheel. Man in Black knows it'll work the same way that he knew how to play the game just because he's special. I guess this is goodbye. So Crazy Mom smashes his head against the wall and leaves him unconscious. She runs back to Jacob, brings him to the light, and says it's his turn to protect it. Life, death, rebirth. The source, the heart of the island. But Jacob has to promise that he will never go down there. Apparently, it would be worse than dying. Takes out the wine bottle, pours a drink, says a prayer, and offers Jacob the cup. Once he drinks, he will be the protector of the island until he can find a replacement for himself. Even though he knows that Crazy Mom wanted Man in Black to be the protector of the island after all these years, Jacob still accepts the responsibilities. Crazy Mom still holds to the fact that it was always supposed to be Jacob, and he just has to take her word for that. Now Jacob and Crazy Mom are the same, so he's gonna kill a woman and take her babies. Lady in Red. Man in Black wakes up to find that the well is imploded or destroyed or something, and the village that he lived in has been burned down and all the people have been killed, much like the purge of the Dharma Initiative. Who the heck did this purge? Crazy Mom couldn't have done that all by herself. Oh man, Man in Black is mad. Is he mad because all his people were killed, or his way off the island was taken away? Crazy Mom makes her way back home, finds the place in ruins, and finds the game that she gave the Man in Black after all these years. She takes out 2 stones, one light, one dark. And she's stabbed in the back by Man in Black, although we kind of all saw that coming. Why wouldn't she let him leave? She says because she loves him and thanks him and then dies. Perhaps the island wouldn't let her kill herself, and thus was thankful that someone else did it for her. And we have another rehash of Season 1 with the fight that Jack and Locke had after Boone died. What did you do? Jacob isn't gonna kill the Man in Black. Instead, he brings him to the source of the light. Jacob throws the Man in Black towards the light. He floats down and then disappears. Until the Smoke Monster. Jacob later finds the Man in Black's body thrown against some rocks. Jacob carries the body back to the caves, lays him down. He finds the dark and light rock, puts them into a pouch, and then we begin to see flashbacks from Season 1 of Lost, when Jack found that exact pouch on the bodies of Adam and Eve. And Jacob lays down his mother, and the bodies are complete. Jacob says goodbye to his brother, and the episode ends. First of all, we all kind of knew that that was the scene with Adam and Eve. Thus, a lot of people were upset that we even needed the flashback scenes from Season 1 of Jack and Kate and Locke and Charlie finding the bodies. But you know what? It kind of added to the episode, having the voiceover of that scene of Jack and Locke talking about our very own Adam and Eve. Come on, people, just be happy that you finally got that answer. Secondly, a lot of people are upset about Jack's comment of the bodies being about 40 to 50 years old based on the decomposition of the clothing. I mean, that doesn't really jive with the fact that we're assuming it's 2,000 years ago. What's the connection? Well, maybe it really was 40 to 50 years ago on the island. You do remember that the island can time jump. Besides all of that, let's get into some theory of the week. Many theories are already out there about who the Smoke Monster truly is. After this episode, a lot of people are now assuming that the Smoke Monster is a separate entity, a separate creature from the Man in Black, and just absorbed his memories. And the Smoke Monster, in the form of Man in Black that we've seen on the island afterwards, is not truly Jacob's brother. The Smoke Monster can look like anybody who's dead. Yemi, Christian Shepherd, Locke. So the Smoke Monster could have just simply looked like the Man in Black and acted as if he were. However, when Flock was speaking to Jack about John Locke, he was speaking as if John John Locke were a separate person that he pitied and he thought was a fool for believing in the island. Whereas when Flock was speaking to Kate about Crazy Mom, he was speaking as if that were his actual mom. My thought is that by going into the light cave, Man in Black was actually discharged from his body and gained the powers of what we know of the smoke monster. He still doesn't have a physical body to speak of because the person that we see is just all smoke underneath. In the end, evil may not be destroyed, but simply contained, because good cannot exist without evil. Man, I'm gonna miss it when it's gone, but message board shattered. Once again, people find things to nitpick over. The first thing that people couldn't get over is the fact that Man in Black still doesn't have a name. Is it important that he has a name? Would it change anything if we gave him a name? Or would having a name just make us force characteristics upon this character? I think it's more important that he doesn't have a name for now, and if and ever he is given a name, it will be for an important reason. There's also a great theory out there about the overall theme of the show. The heart of the island is seen as a shimmering light, but what exactly is it? What does man want more of? Some have theorized that the heart of the island is nothing more than time. Think about it. Since season 1, people have been obsessed about the concept of time. Jin and Michael fight over a watch. The button needs to be pressed every 108 minutes. The island is jumping through time. Richard can't age like he's being suspended in time. Many times we've seen the numbers reflected in the actual time of day. Crazy Mom mentioned how if the light went out there, it would go out everywhere. What would happen if time ceased to exist? We're always running out of time, desiring more time. Time is sometimes our enemy, but we can't live without it. We become obsessed with time, and it rules our lives. More importantly, a clock runs every 24 hours and then repeats its cycle, like history and like events in life. Next week's episode is entitled, What They Died For. We all want to know what they died for, and more importantly, we might actually find out the source of everything on the island and what they're truly protecting. We might find the answer to a really huge secret, or just get a very vague explanation about something that ends up being a metaphor. Sometimes I think like the Man in Black's name hasn't been truly revealed. It's something dorky, like Melvin.